Welcome to today's explainer. If you've been watching the tickers lately and scratching your head at how bizarre the market is behaving, well, you are absolutely in the right place. Today, we're making sense of this wild market volatility by looking at the hard data from June 24, 2026. We're going to see exactly what is pulling the strings behind these major financial swings and, frankly, break down the mechanics behind the madness. Here's our game plan for today. We'll start with a current market snapshot, explain a really crucial concept called concentration risk, look at the tech stock slump, dig into oil, gold, and commodities, and wrap it all up with the seasonal volatility factor.
Okay, let's kick things right off with Section 1, the current market snapshot, and this really is a tale of diverging indexes.
So what's really fascinating right out of the gate is the clear divergence on the trading floor. Look at this contrast. The Dow Jones actually climbed, adding about 182 points to hit a really solid 51,848.90. But then you look at the broader indexes. The S&P 500 and the tech-heavy Nasdaq, they actually ended the day lower. The S&P dropped about 7 points, and the Nasdaq took an even heavier hit, closing down over 110 points to 25,476. You literally have major market indicators moving in completely opposite directions on the exact same day.
And that brings us to a massive contradiction. Honestly, it sounds like a math error, right? The reality of the trading day was that most individual stocks within the S&P 500 actually gained ground. Way more companies had a good day than a bad day, yet the total index dropped. So, how does a market fall when most of its actual parts go up? Well, there's a very specific mechanism driving this.
To explain that, let's listen to Kim Inglis, a senior portfolio manager at Raymond James. She points out that the Magnificent Seven and those mega-cap tech stocks are just massive contributors to overall returns, both the good ones and the bad ones. And she hits the nail on the head here. A tiny handful of heavyweight tech stocks dictate the overall direction of the entire U.S. market. Their sheer size totally overrides the incremental gains of hundreds of other smaller companies combined.
Which brings us perfectly to Section 2. Let's explain concentration risk and look at the mirror markets.
Let's break down what this actually means in practice. Concentration risk happens when the performance of an entire index is heavily dictated by a very small group of massive, highly weighted stocks. Because these major indexes are weighted by company size, the biggest companies naturally have the loudest voices. It's an undeniable dynamic. When the absolute largest companies sneeze, the entire index catches a cold. It doesn't even matter how healthy all the smaller companies are feeling that day.
And to see just how universal this is, let's look across the border to Canada. We basically have two highly concentrated mirror markets here. In the US, the market relies heavily on those mega-cap tech heavyweights we just talked about, but Canada's main stock index, the TSX, totally different beast. It's moved almost entirely by financials, energy, and basic materials. It's the exact same concept of concentration risk, just applied to completely different sectors. If energy takes a hit up north, the whole market feels it, just like tech in the US. So diving into Section 3, let's look at the tech stock slump causing this heavyweight drag.
Take this number for example. That's Microsoft. Microsoft, an absolute titan in the index, took a 2.3% hit today. Now, 2.3% might not sound like a total disaster on its own, but because of Microsoft's sprawling size and disproportionate weight in the index, this specific drop acted like an anchor, dragging the US market down. It was literally large enough to entirely wipe out the collective gains made by so many smaller companies. And they weren't alone in this. Oracle followed suit with an even steeper 4.7% slump. This just proves how forcefully these single mega-caps can pull the rug out from under the S&P 500. Just a couple of bad days for a few major players is all it takes to completely obscure an otherwise solid day for the broader market.
But, why the sudden drop? Well, these large tech companies have been the primary engines behind Wall Street's record-setting run all year. They've been sprinting. And after carrying the market for so long, analysts are starting to warn that these tech valuations have simply become stretched. A natural pullback is kind of inevitable when stock prices outpace their underlying financial realities for too long. It's basically the market naturally taking a breath after running a marathon.
Let's shift gears for Section 4. We're looking at oil, gold, and commodities, Canada's market drivers.
Remember that concentration risk we talked about? Well, it dragged the Canadian TSX down over 191 points today, to roughly 34,736. and it was driven entirely by commodities. Brent crude fell 3.8% down to $73.87 a barrel. The August crude oil contract also took a tumble, dropping $2.87 to settle at $70.34. Because energy is the foundational pillar of the Canadian market, this specific weakness in oil instantly dragged down the whole index.
But what's actually driving oil prices down? We have to look at the geopolitical facts. The U.S. and Iran are currently negotiating a possible end to their war. As Kim Inglis pointed out, this evolving situation is helping to bring oil prices back down to earth. As those geopolitical tensions ease, the risk premium built into the price of oil just vanishes. And here's the crazy trade-off. While this drags the Canadian stock index down, cheaper energy prices can actually help ease inflation for everyday consumers. So, bad for the index, potentially great for your wallet.
Now, let's talk about the ultimate anxiety barometer, gold. Gold is fascinating, right? Investors traditionally rush into gold when the world feels risky or chaotic, and then they sell it off when global tensions relax and things stabilize. It's a real-time reflection of how stressed the market is.
And right now, the data is screaming that market anxiety is easing. The August gold contract dropped over $140 today alone, landing at $4,008.80 an ounce. That is a massive drop from its peak earlier this year, when it was surging way past $5,000 an ounce. This massive sell-off perfectly aligns with the easing tensions we just talked about with oil.
To completely round out the Canadian commodities picture, alongside these big shifts in oil and gold, the Canadian dollar also traded slightly lower. It dipped to 70.25 cents US, down a tiny fraction from 70.42 cents the day before.
Finally, we land at Section 5, the seasonal volatility factor, the summer trading context. As our portfolio expert mentioned, all this volatility right now, it really shouldn't be a huge shock. It's summer. Summer naturally brings way lower trading volumes. People are on the beach, institutions are making fewer moves, and overall participation just plummets. Think of the market like a swimming pool. When there's less water in the pool, or in this case less trading volume, every single splash makes a much bigger, more chaotic wave. So when a tech giant drops or oil slides, the ripple effect through a thinly traded summer market is massively amplified.
Which brings us to the ultimate takeaway for today. We've seen how just a couple of massive tech companies can tank an otherwise rising U.S. market, and how a dip in global oil prices can easily sink the Canadian index. So, I want to leave you with this. If buying a broad market index just means you're heavily exposed to a few tech giants or a cluster of energy firms, are you truly as diversified as you think you are? It's definitely something to chew on next time you review your portfolio. Thanks so much for joining me on today's Explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.